building has been here for almost 120 years, and it's actually the second location for the building. It was originally erected in Stewart, Iowa, and then about 120 years ago it was dismantled brick by brick, beam by beam, thrown on a train and brought here. It was brought here because this used to be one of the largest rail yards in the Midwest, and really West Des Moines was built around all of this, Valley Junction, and there used to be a station over there. So this building used to be a rail barn, so on each end of the building you'll see 5 garage doors. Well, trains used to run through the building, they do steel repairs on them and whatever, and then they'd run them out, and there actually was a sister building to this that was identical just to the southeast of us. And so during construction we actually found the original floor, which is an old brick floor with railroad tracks in it, and we thought to preserve that. We had no idea. It was just an accident that we found it during construction. But we thought that's kind of cool, and so every garage door 3 foot below our floor, which we thought was the original floor, there's a set of railroad tracks embedded in a brick floor below us, running all the way through the building.
And then to celebrate that rich history, there's a little window into the past right there in the middle of the bar. Perhaps you saw that, or maybe Evan spoke to that.
Yeah.
Customers seem to like it. The whole goal was for people to have conversations. I mean, we're trying to build community here, right? So what does that look like in the actual physical space? And the table is really the most important piece of that in my mind. So we knew we wanted narrow tables so that you could sit close like this and have a conversation. We knew we didn't want to go with a typical 30 or 36 inch width, so those tables are 24 inches wide, and they're made out of cargo planks. So this is very old wood, and these are the floorboards of rail cars and cargo cars. And it's interesting because there's these grooves, these drag marks across. If you look at them, the texture is wonderful. Well, that's because they take the cargo and they drag it across and creates just such this interesting texture. And there's also no stain on that wood. It's just 100 years of, weathering, basically. I hate to use the words dirt and grime, but honestly, that's what's there. And they are sealed, of course, but they just have so much character. And it's of this place, because if you know about the history of this place, it's very much tied to the railroad.
Well, I think what we tried to do here is not overthink or make it overly complicated. I mean, the building is a historic building, so don't try too hard. Let it be what it is. It's imperfect. It's over 100 years old, so just let it continue to be imperfect. And when you do find interesting historical things, go ahead and expose it. Like when we were digging the footings for the mezzanine, we found the original brick floor and railroad tracks underneath everything. So we thought, well, that'd be a really cool thing for patrons to see. So we dug the hole in front of the bar, put in a glass floor, and lit it, and now everyone can see what it actually was. The design consideration, we want it to kind of be open. We've got this great volume here, so we want it to be, to preserve the volume, kind of give it that German beer hall feel. But at the same time, because this was a foundry after it was a railroad maintenance thing, just, let's work off the industrial and transportation aesthetic and kind of work that into the detailing and how we do things. So all of the structural steel is left exposed. All of the metal wall paneling is raw, hot rolled mill finish, so we didn't do anything to it. That's just the way it comes out of the factory, and we just let it have that natural blue patina on it, and we just sort of get what we get, and we just embrace it for what it is. And I think Nick and Lynn took that to the next step when they were looking at getting the tables and the furniture for out here in the hall and also for the bar. So all of the table tops are made out of recycled boxcar floors.
Oh, cool.
So it just keeps building on the same thing.
And how did you incorporate them? So you put in this glass wall?
Yeah, so we put in the curtain wall specifically so that the patrons in the hall could look into the distillery. And that was quite the challenge, figuring out how do you do a glass vision wall this big and yet still have it be fire rated, because it has to be fire rated to be separated from that production area.
So how did you end up solving that issue?
Well, if you look on the back side of this wall, there's actually a whole series of overhead garage door fire shutters that will deploy automatically when the fire alarm goes off. So there are 3 that are 20 feet wide, and then the center one is 16 feet wide.
because when you think about trying new things, it's like, well, what does that mean for the space? What does that mean for the furnishings? So I feel like the whole team did a great job in creating the ultimate flexible space. Everything from, the weight of the furniture and how the tables are going to be moved around and how our planter boxes out here are all on casters. And so I feel like we did a pretty good job creating a space that will allow us to be really flexible with the programming and the events.
One thing that we're about here is about getting out of our box. Okay, and we're not afraid to try anything here. And this whole space is set up so we can really do whatever we want. And there's almost no risk for us to try anything. Even the way we order, the technology that we use to order food, well, we were not only first in the nation to deploy that technology for ordering food off trucks, but we were first globally to take 4 technologies and merge it under one roof and get it to work. So there's just these things out there that are huge if you know about them, but if you just look at it, you'll never know what the heck you're looking at. But so for us, we're all about piloting new things and trying new things, and again, that's the way we're built. And we wanted to build a place that was conducive to that. And what that is, I don't know, but all we know is we'll try it. And if it works, we'll do it again. And if it doesn't, well, we'll chalk it up to experience.